is when you don't know the purpose, abuse is inevitable.
Yeah.
When you don't know the purpose, abuse is inevitable. I heard those words. It was like a gut punch, metaphorically.
Yeah.
Some random dude come gut punch me.
Whatever it is you're using, and if you don't know its intended purpose, man, you're going to abuse it. You know, I heard it said like this, abuse is abnormal use. Using something abnormally, right?
Wow.
So, of course, you're going to destroy something. You're going to abuse something. You're going to tear it up and damage it if you don't know how to use it properly. And the same with our life, right?
Yeah,
if you don't know
good.
the purpose of your life, you're going to end up with a life that's destructive, that's harmful, not just to yourself, but to others as well.
It's how life works. It's how a thing or a purpose of a thing works. And it's interesting because me, let me just say me first before I say we. There were times where I tried to like test things, whether it's testing myself or the thing that I'm working on. And then when it doesn't work, sometimes I'm like, I try to force it a little bit more. Like, no, it's going to work. And then it doesn't. And that inevitable piece, it's like, it's inevitable. You can't even undo this thing yourself.
Yeah.
You've got to know how it works. There's a principle behind it. There's an automation. There's a system at play.
Yeah.
I thought about this the other day. I was like, if I didn't know how to swim and I jumped in a pool and it was too deep, like abuse is inevitable. You're going to drown. You don't know how to swim. Like, you know what I mean? It's just how it all works.
Well, that depends, you know. I think the reason we drown is because we're afraid, right?
Yeah.
Like our animalistic behavior is survival. Most folks, if you throw them in a pool as a kid, they will swim. It's when you throw them in a pool as an adult that they swim because now fear has set in, right?
Dang, I didn't even think about that.
You ever
That's
seen that?
so true, yes.
Most children, if you throw them into the pool, or they'll jump in without fear at all. Most children will.
That's true.
But when you become an adult, all this fear is built up in your life of things that you tried that didn't work out.
Yeah.
So now you think, oh, the worst may happen if I jump in there.
That's interesting. I was talking to my family. I was in Australia about a week ago, and I told them this phrase, actually two phrases. I'll stick to one, but I'll say the second one later. That children learn to doubt.
Oh, 100%.
Right?
100%.
I know it's a simple thought, but like,
yeah,
makes you kind of question and ask yourself, like, when was the time I started doubting as a child?
You know, it goes back to what you just said a second ago. You'll try something, and then you force it. As you were saying, I was thinking to myself, trying is awesome. Like it's those who don't try that fail.
Interesting.
Because through our trying and failing, we get better, right? But to your point, you said they're trying to hammer that thing in. You got to learn with that balance of when do I stop? When have I learned my lesson that this doesn't work? So I should probably try something new.
It's interesting you're saying that because there was a time there where I didn't feel like I have a purpose. I felt lost, right? So I kept trying the thing that kept me lost and kept me out of purpose. Wow. I wasn't really serving anyone. I was serving myself.
Okay.
So I kept doing it like, no. Like I try to ignore this other part of me.
Yeah. But a lot of that comes from ignorance, right?
Yeah, that's true.
You know, ignorance is not a bad thing. It's just a lack of knowledge, right? At what point do you think you came to your senses?
There was a time. It was definitely in the military because
middle late 20s.
Yeah, I would say
early 20s. What?
Middle, just a little bit up. So probably close to my late 20s when I was like, I am done. Like, what are you doing, Joe? Why do you keep doing this thing? And then it goes back to purpose. Like, if I would leave this world, what would someone say about me? Like, just those questions started coming through.
Yeah.
And then I
started
realized,
thinking about identity.
I think what I also realized is I was admitting that I was failing. Sometimes when, you try to, when you don't have a purpose and when you feel lost or there is no really sense of direction, I think it starts off with the self-actualization piece.
Yep.
Because I was trying to ignore that. I was like, no. I was living in denial, essentially. I'm good. No, you're not. You're not good, Joe. Like, look at you, bro. You're not married yet. you said you want to have a family. You have these goals, and you're not even hitting those goals. Like, what?
Yeah.
You're not good. Just admit it.
Well, would you say it's safe that you put too much pressure on yourself at that particular age? Like I believe there's this grace period where, we come out of our teenage years, we go into our early adult years. there need to be time to grow, time to develop, and time to experience. And I think early 20s is that time, but I think when you start getting to your late 20s, early 30s, if you haven't figured it out or you haven't acquired good mentorship or good leadership in your life, then it becomes a problem.
Yeah,
right?
that's true. I was imprisoned by my circumstance. Here's what I mean by that. I come to realize last week when I was with my family, we had a family reunion essentially. And we had a really deep conversation around like, where did we learn all these traits from? Where we don't communicate well with our spouses.
Yeah.
We don't have emotional intelligence. It's not there.
Yeah.
We think it is, but it isn't.
Yeah.
Because we start to see other families, how they operate. And I'm like, wait, wow, they do that really well.
Yeah.
Why aren't we like that? And it's not to compare. It's more like, how can we be better? And I come to realize there was these two factors that I was carrying with me. And I just found this out like last week. I was carrying with me all my life, most of my life. I was confused and I was scared. And that, I guess, trait was embedded in me and it impacted my decision making. So the reason why I felt like
scarcity,
fear and confusion, like I was confused. So when I'm confused, I won't know how to identify the actual issue.
Wow.
So that means like I will always live in denial. I don't get it. I don't know what it is. I'll just keep going. Whatever. Ignorance. I'm just confused. I'm like, oh, well. But it was not like confused as in like I don't know anything. It's more like when I'm like, oh, I don't know what my purpose is, and I just kind of like leave it. I'm just like, it's too hard, too long for me to process.
I need to chew on this for a second. Because
it took me a while to chew on.
No, it's awesome. I love it, right? Because we're revealing things from the unseen that we're dealing with in life. So a man like you, someone that I look up to and admire for who you are, your character, you say you were confused and scared.
Yeah, so but my 20s, yes, definitely in the teens.
Your 20s.
Yeah, not now.
Oh, okay.
It was something that was revealed in that family reunion.
That's what you were walking through in that season.
It was my mom.
Okay.
She said, so long story short, she was living with my grandmother, her mom, at the time when she was really young, like from up to 3. And then her mom left her. Had to leave, I think for valid reasons, to work and all these different things to provide. So she had to leave my mom in the village, in the islands. And my mom was confused. That's where it started.
And you think it got passed along?
Oh, 100%.
Trait.
100%. Because I grew up without a dad. And she's still carrying that trait with her in her early 20s. And I was just born. And that trait wasn't dealt with. So then it was a learned trait. So it became a generational.
I feel it.
Yeah, transfer.
I can relate, man. Because, my background is growing up without a father, right? And that's not just my background. That's generational stuff. My grandma, no father in the household. Aunts, uncles, no father in the household. And I think we just begin to accept that as normal, right? It's normal if the man's not in the household. I may know who he is. Yeah. You may know where he's at. But if he's not in the household, that's okay.
Yeah.
But there's something missing when there's not a man in the household. It's a covering that you don't have.
Security.
Yeah. And that's where fear, doubt, things like that creep in. Which
I feel like fear and confusion. Yeah. Confusion is like doubt. Confusion is like you just don't know.
It's a sense of loss.
Don't have something tangible to hold on to, and that was me my whole life. Like up to now, obviously years, like I'd say 8 years. I've felt free from that, and I think it has to do a lot to do with my wife. It has a lot to do with it because she's the one that's been digging. Like, hey, what? Like, where did this come from? Why do you say it like that? And it makes me think, and I'm journaling in my mornings going, why do I do that? Am I conscious of this?
But I think it takes a good wife, right? It takes a good wife.
100%. 100%. A wife that's aware, a wife that's willing to serve, a wife that's willing to like see things from a different perspective. She is that, man. And I'm like, what? Like, I don't know how another lady would deal with this. And it's not like bad. It's just these little traits that I'm like, where did that come from? And those little foxes in those holes, man. Yeah. Exactly. It's not this big giant thing. It could be, but for me, it was these little foxes that just trying to expose itself, its little head. Like, hey, but just going back to purpose, abuse is inevitable. I thought about my mom. I was just like, man, mom is like, She was just a child. She didn't know what was going on. And it was literally a generational transfer of bad traits.
Okay.
Like, what are these? I don't even say this. What are some of the bad traits we've learned that has impacted our purpose?
Oh, a lot.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
A lot.
What
man.
is purpose?
That's a great question.
Yeah, original intent is
Original
always
intent.
go back to that simple definition. It's going back to its original intent. Whatever it's created for, it's going back to its original intent, purpose of a thing. So I would even say, what is the original intent for us?
I think purpose in general has to do with our spiritual connection. If you don't have some kind of spiritual connection,
We've got to touch on that.
now we can jump into all the religions of the world, right? But if you don't have a spiritual connection, like a higher power guiding your soul to direct your body to move in the actions that it's designed to. But yeah, spirituality, man.
Thinking about spirit, right? Think about this. I was talking to my brother about this. Spirit is breath.
The ether.
Yeah. Which is so interesting to me because we breathe all the time. And the breath of life is a reminder that we are a spirit.
Yeah.
There is something there that you can't see, but it's you. And it's like infinite, eternal. But the thing is like you and I believe there is a savior.
Yeah.
Because when we were born into this world, we are offsprings of two beings, Adam and Eve.
Correct.
We are offsprings of that. And that's what we believe. And I know other worldviews would think otherwise. They think evolution. But at the end of the day, the facts, you can just see the facts. And it's hard not to I would even say truth. You can see the truth in the fact that we were offsprings of something. And when you were born into this world, it's not perfect. There's something broken in the system that we're in today.
And that's the beauty of it all. We can spend our time complaining about the brokenness, right?
Yeah.
The dysfunction. But I think if we realize that we're here because that brokenness exists and we're part of the solution. We were sent here to solve something. There was a problem that was created. Well, there was a problem that existed. And God said, you know what, Joe, you have purpose inside of you.
Yeah.
Brian, you have purpose inside of you. And I need you to go down there and address this problem that's been plaguing the earth, right?
Yeah.
And not that we're going to fix every problem, right? Because there are going to be individuals that come after us, because there were some individuals that came before us. But such a time as this, we've been called to help assist in this problem that exists right now in this time on earth.
It's interesting you're saying that because God is known to be the infinite creator, right? He has infinite creativity, but he has given some aspect of that creativity to everybody.
Exactly, everybody.
Everybody. So that's why you're gifted in music, is gifted in numbers, gifted in arts, all these different myriads of traits that you can have that has your life purposeful. So this is the real question is are you purposeful in what you're doing? Are you full of purpose?
Yeah. I think people are looking for an end game, right?
Interesting. Destination.
A destination,
Interesting.
It's not the journey. It's not what I'm doing. It's not as I'm working this thing out. You know what I mean? It's I just want to get through this so I can get to something so I can be over it.
There is no over it.
There is no over it. It's a continuation, We're leveling up in life. Every single one of us are leveling up in life. You know what I mean?
Have you heard
at the new level will come new opportunity, new challenges, new struggles.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of it all. It's the journey as we walk through this thing.
I met with some of the dads for our school the other day, and I told them about this phrase I heard. I said, I heard this phrase and it really stuck to me and it wouldn't go away. And it was annoying because I'm the type of guy that can't get my mind off something when it's in there.
It's stuck.
It is stuck. The statement was, the journey is the destination.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the process.
And I said it that way to let the dads know, hey guys, I get that we have future aspirations and there's a destination. There's this nice thing over here somewhere. Not wrong to have goals, because if you don't have goals, someone else will give you one. So the journey is the destination. What that means is be super present with the now so that you are prepared for the next. And when you're so thinking the destination's out there somewhere, don't get me wrong, it'll get there, but it makes you focus more on who you're becoming rather than what you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, nothing matters more than the now. Nothing.
Let me rephrase that. You're supposed to focus more on who you're becoming more than what you're having or what you're getting. That's what I was supposed to say.
Who you're becoming. It goes back to the do be have.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
In order to have anything, you're going to have to do something.
Yep.
But you can't do what you haven't become.
Correct.
Right? So being in the moment is becoming.
And becoming is intentional.
Exactly.
Because
Every moment.
you can catch a virus, you can catch a sickness, you can catch a disease, but you can't catch health.
It is what it is.
You got to be intentional with health.
Like health is natural. Health is
Yeah, that's
normal.
good.
We think that we have to become healthy, but actually we're born healthy.
Interesting.
We're born healthy. You know, I mean, when I was born, I didn't have any ailments or diseases or defects, but over time I've acquired some that I had to undo. I had to get back to baseline, and I would probably say the same for you. You've probably experienced some cold, some soreness, some sickness in your life, but you got back to baseline, and baseline is normality. That's
Your
health.
body's
right?
fighting to
The
get
body's
back to
fighting.
healthy. Yeah,
Yep.
it's fighting for you because it's created that way. It's purposeful. So,
And the same with our purpose. Like we were created for a purpose. You know, so when people go off and say, man, I just don't know what my purpose is, so I'm looking for my purpose. It's not that you don't have one. It's not that you wasn't created to do something grand and something of a magnificent design.
yeah,
You just got off track.
we've talked about this before.
Yeah, if you said it yourself, if you don't have a goal, you will be working for somebody else's goals.
And the thing is you got to define the goals properly because we talked about this with the dads. Most of us have a ladder of success, but it's leaning on the wrong wall.
Oh.
And when we say like,
Or an intention
you have to
headed
have
in the wrong direction.
you can have a goal, but like when you get to the end of the goal, is it leaning on the right wall? And what I mean by the right wall is by the time you achieve the thing, do you really think you'll be fulfilled? We say purposeful. Are you going to be full, wholesome, feeling like this is the reason why I'm here and I'm doing the thing that I'm supposed to be doing?
What do you think are some of the traits that leads to us knowing what that is?
Traits.
I mean, because there's millions of people that are
I would say
leaning the ladder on the wall to nowhere.
in order for you to grow, you got to know yourself. You've got to know yourself. You've got to, I would even say, if you can work harder on yourself rather than harder on others around you, it changes the game.
Big time.
You've got to wake up early. When I say wake up early, you've got to create margin for yourself. Budget the time to read books, and I highly recommend the Bible.
Number one.
And if you don't know how to read the Bible,
first book.
Download the Bible app because the Bible app explains what the Bible's trying to say.
Yeah.
And then follow our pastor,
and the Bible,
Pastor Earl,
the
Shoreline
Bible
City,
Project.
shout out. A Bible Project.
Yep.
There are things out there. Now, if we have other worldviews that are kind of a little bit skeptical about the Bible, it's like, hey, I think I heard this statement and I really want to speak to this. I was talking to my sisters the other day. I love them so much. They're amazing. They're incredible. They're inspiring. They're encouraging. Some of my sisters have more degrees than I can even count sometimes. They have all these accreditations. Well done. Like, I'm like, this is awesome.
And these are your baby sisters, right?
This is my baby sisters. I'm like, I love you girls, man. You're awesome. Okay, what next? Wait, another course? Another degree? Wait, no. Well, hang on. So why I'm bringing this up, okay? I said this to them. I said, if you're broke, hurt, and confused right now,
Okay.
don't you feel manipulated? Right? Broke, hurt, and confused, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're definitely not rich.
Okay.
And you know what? They're doing better. They're not whole, right? They're getting better. You know what I mean?
I got you.
You know where I'm going with this?
I get where you're going here.
So, okay, let's think of the opposite spectrum. That you got someone who's a great businessman, started early, probably didn't even finish high school.
or barely.
Becomes a multi-millionaire. I'm not saying all wealthy people are good people. There are some bad people. But like, and then they see that and they go, they're manipulative. They're manipulators. Interesting.
I love it.
And then they don't see themselves broke, hurt, and confused. Don't you feel manipulated through the system?
Yeah.
What is the purpose of a thing? What was the purpose of the educational system? What's the purpose of learning a thing?
Exactly. I've spent, and I'm speaking in general here, not talking about myself, but I get where you're going here. You've spent tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands.
I don't know how much they
for
spend.
these degrees, and yet either you're employed by somebody else or you're not employed at all. You can't find a job. They call you overqualified, right? You're overqualified. We can't afford to hire you.
Yeah,
things like
they
that.
say things like that.
I get you. That's where you're
because
headed
they
here.
know they'll have to pay you more at some point.
Versus the person who didn't belong in the system, didn't fit the system criteria, didn't pass the test and so forth, and had to make a way for himself.
Yeah.
Went out there, worked hard, worked on himself, developed his skill set, and made a way.
And going back to the question you said is like, what do you do? How do you identify these traits? First off, admit that you've been manipulated.
Exactly.
Because if you don't, well, then if you're not broke, hurt, or confused, then you must be going on the right track. If you're broke and you're working 9 to 5 and there's more sweat equity than brain equity. And what I mean by that is like you are physically worn out because you're trying to work as much as you can to provide whatever it is that you're trying to achieve your goals. So I'm not saying don't work hard.
Got to work hard.
But you've got to learn how to leverage. That's why you got this.
You got to give up something, and for most people, it's giving up their entertainment. It's something we was talking about earlier. Entertainment has a purpose and a place to disconnect.
Yes.
But for the most part, we can't live a life of entertainment. If you're living a life of entertainment or being entertained, you're not living a life of purpose.
Because my wife, she watches these TV shows, right? And I, me being the self-help guru, I'm watching it. I'm like, should you be watching that?
You're picking it apart?
Yeah. But at the same time, I'm realizing, wait a minute. No, this is her time to disconnect. Because she wears everything she does. Like she's wearing the fact that, she was coaching teachers all day. She needs that time to just, I just need to disconnect so that I'm able to start again the next day and be fresh. Because the problem is if you keep wearing and carrying everything with you, it starts to wear you down and you don't have proper rest.
Yeah. but it's good balance though. Because me and you are like
yeah, true.
I think it's safe to say that we spend the majority of our time learning, reading,
it's
listening to books, listening to podcasts.
I wonder if it's abusive.
No, well, we got a wife that balances us out.
That's
right?
true. That's
because Janelle doesn't watch TV. But what she do is she look at fashion. She look at fashion. So we have a shared Google account, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I get to see all the saved images of vases and living rooms and furniture and dresses. Right. So her entertainment is looking at fashion, being creative in her mind. But come tomorrow morning, she's on her A game. We're having meetings. We're debriefing. We're looking at bank statements. We're looking at P&Ls. We're looking at spreadsheets. And then life is doing life. But come the evening, her downtime is looking at fashion and expressing her creative ability. And the same could be with your wife, when it comes to.
Well, I'm thinking how can you turn something that seems like entertainment into something that's purposeful? So I thought about that the other day. I was like, she's watching these programs and I'm listening to what they're saying because I don't watch it with her. I'm like, I'm watching Myron Golden. And then I'll hear it and I'm like, interesting. She's learning how to navigate through drama.
Ooh.
I didn't realize that until I was listening to I'm like, why are you watching drama? And I realized, wait, that's all we deal with at work is drama.
Wow. Did she acknowledge that?
I haven't told her that yet. It was my own epiphany as I was sitting there, listening to what she was watching.
On the flip end, it could just be a continuation, an attraction.
That too. So it's almost like, because where your attention goes, attention flows. But also, how do you flip that? Because you can flip the script,
and in
dosages.
That's the advantage that you have. You see how to take what someone's doing, and that's why you're learning.
I know.
It's your job to take information and make it applicable, right?
Yeah. But I said in dosage because something that my pastor said to me, he said, hey, where your attention goes, your energy flows, right?
Yeah.
So he said, be aware of what you listen to, the words that are going through your head, your mind, because I'll say it like this. How many thoughts do you think goes through our minds every day?
Too many to count.
How many thoughts did it take to have Adam and Eve fall?
1.
So the intentionality around our thought life is so pivotal, man. We need to have a security guard around our minds. Yeah. And I think, sometimes watching these shows can be, dangerous, but at the same time, there is this thing called risk. So don't immerse yourself in these things because where your attention goes, your energy flows. I would even say just be strategic. It's like, I'll watch this show. And then what did I learn from that?
Exactly.
What I take and don't take. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you don't even think about it. You're just like, that was, and it just stays in your mind.
It's not even
starts to become a scenario.
It's not even a sometime.
That's true.
It's most of the time. Now, when I say that, I'm generally speaking, because I remember there was a time where it didn't matter what I watched. You know what I mean?
True.
If it looked good, then I'm gonna watch it. And the same goes with everything else. Yeah. If it feels good, I'm doing it. If it tastes good, I'm doing it. If it smells good, I'll probably eat it. Right?
Yeah.
So in general, we have to be intentional about what we're doing.
I know.
But you have to find out what your purpose is.
So almost I need to be like, because I you know, if she's there like 3-4 hours, I'm like, okay, let's go, let's do something, because you can't be there, because it's addictive.
It is.
And it's almost like you don't know how many birds fly over your head, do you? How many birds fly over your head, Brian?
Because you're not looking.
Well, we don't know how many birds fly over heads, but it does matter when they start to sit on your head and build a nest. That's what we need to be aware of. Like, yeah, those thoughts will come and go, but you don't want one of those thoughts to build a nest in your head.
I love it.
That's the issue.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'll give her time. She's going to rest. She's going to do her thing. She's probably going to hear this. And she's like, what are you talking about me for? But it's like, no, have that time. Even strategically put it in your calendar. This is the time I'm going to disconnect. Some guys play video games. I know some wealthy entrepreneurs play video games to disconnect, which makes sense to me, because I used to play video games all the time. For me, I watch rugby. Like, I really get really honed in on rugby. I'm like, oh, good technique. Like, I'm really focusing on. I would distract myself.
That's what you do,
because you can't return if you don't retreat.
I don't think a thing is bad until it becomes a problem.
I would say it like this: you can't be refreshed and return without retreating. You've got to find a strategic way to retreat.
Yeah.
So that when you return, you're refreshed.
Yeah.
I got fresh ideas, guys. Ready?
Yeah. Like I don't think a thing is a bad thing unless it's a problem, right?
Yeah.
Unless it's preventing you from doing something that in your heart you want to do. We talk about conviction, right?
Yeah.
We say the spirit convicts, right? So if you're doing something and you're like, man, it just doesn't sit right in my spirit, like there's something stirred inside of me that's telling me that's wrong, then I think that's when the thing you're doing is wrong. You know, if you sit there and you watch TV for 8 hours, but your stomach's growling, right? Because
that's abuse.
That's abuse, because you didn't get up and cook dinner. Or your children are acting out because you're not spending time with them and spending more time at work, then work is a problem, right? Like I say, nothing's bad until it convicts you.
I love where we're going with this, because I had an interesting conversation with my family about kava, right? And this stuff is like, it can be abused. And I've seen it abused, especially in the Fiji Islands. And I told my dad this. Actually, I was explaining it to my dad, and I was hoping my mom would hear, because my mom was more of an extreme of like, don't drink that stuff, it's bad, because all she's seen is the abuse.
Okay.
But the way I see it is like, hey, Dad, like, this is the reason why I have these sessions in Dallas, is because it's a way of literally weaning off alcohol. That's a great way to wean off that addiction, because literally that's a good substitute. And then kava itself is not addictive. It's the community aspect that's addictive.
Really?
This is what's interesting about it.
That's I really need to hear this, because I thought community was good. How can community be
Well,
addictive? Like, what's happening in the community that's bad?
There's a pattern. So I told my dad, I said, I realize a pattern. Okay. I realize why, and this is literally what's happening in the Fijian community. And I know this because I heard it from my dad. He's a dad, he's a father, works 9 to 5, really hard, right? And then he comes home to a nagging wife. Comes home to kids who just want his time, want his energy and effort. But he's worked hard in his 9 to 5. And he wants to be at least validated and affirmed, right? Hey, thank you for working hard, my love. Like, these affirmations that we crave. We crave respect. Nagging wife. Kids who want his time.
Okay.
And he doesn't feel like he has the energy all the time.
Okay.
So where does he go? Oh, I got a text from the boys. Kava time. 6 to 8 to 10 hours, comes home and is doped off this thing. Like, he's like not even thinking straight, and he gives his leftovers to his wife and kids.
Okay, I hear you with that.
Yeah.
Question is, I mean, nobody wants a nagging wife, right?
Right.
Why is she nagging?
Exactly. But I'm showing you the symptom here.
Gotcha.
And I know there's a
so it's
root
deeper,
cause
so
to
it's
this.
deeper than the kava.
Oh, it's way deeper.
It's deeper than the kava.
It's not the kava is the escape.
Exactly.
Same thing with alcohol. Why do the guys cheat on their wives and their spouses? Come home to a nagging wife. Come home to a woman that's like not validated, not seen, all the things. So the wife is like, yeah, like the guy isn't present.
So as a man, hearing this and processing this, I got to ask myself, if I'm in alignment, if I'm in alignment with God, my creator, and I'm the covering for my wife first, then my household, why is she nagging? What is she missing?
Yeah.
Like, what is she crying out for?
And this is the thing, Brian. Like you and I, we understand this, but most guys don't see it that way. You know why?
Well, that's why I'm saying it. So for those who are hearing, she's crying out for something. Something's missing. You're not doing something. You're falling short in some area as a husband.
The guy, the husband, has been dealing with problems from 9 to 5 and come home and deal with more problems. Our initial thought process, and I'm telling you what I think is going on, a symptom. Their initial thought process is I come home to rest. I come home to feel safe. I come home to feel like I can be rejuvenated. That's the thing.
Yeah, here's the problem.
Yeah.
So we're talking about purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you just worked a 9 to 5 and you're tired, you're not working in purpose.
Yep.
You're not doing something that inspires you.
There it is.
You're not doing something that you look forward to waking up.
The fuel tank's low.
Exactly.
Yep.
You're being drained. You're not pouring out.
You're not there for a reason, for a purpose, in a purpose.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's time to reevaluate our career choice.
Exactly.
It's time to evaluate what we're doing for a living.
The original
right?
intent.
Exactly.
Now, don't get me wrong. There are seasons where you need to implement, and there are seasons where all work works.
Mm-hmm.
Your character probably has to be shaped
and
and
you should be
formed.
learning from this experience.
Yes.
This particular experience, this position you have, this career, this job, you should be learning from it, right?
Because like I think about marriage, for instance. Like, why do you get married in the first place? Are you just doing it for the novelty? Or what's the purpose of marriage? Why do we call, when you get married, you go to the altar? Why is it called the altar?
I know, it's a sacrifice.
I say in Australia, you say altar. But
Altar.
yeah, when you go there, like it's a what are we sacrificing?
Exactly.
What's the purpose? What's the original intent?
Wow.
It goes back to that.
becoming one.
To becoming one, but there's in order for that to happen,
something has to give.
Someone has to die.
Yeah. But you both have to die and become a new creation.
Exactly.
You both have to die to your old selves and become a new creation.
It's a covenant, which if people don't know what a covenant is, it's literally like you're almost cutting something to form something and bring it together.
Brand new.
It's not a contract.
Brand new.
And when you have a contractual idea around marriage, it ain't got, maybe it'll last, but then you literally, abuse is inevitable.
We get married for the wrong reasons. We really do. We get married because he looks handsome or she is beautiful.
And don't get me wrong, being attractive is great.
That's awesome.
It's a great thing, but
yeah,
don't make that the only thing.
Or, you got a lot of money. Or I like the way you think, or I like where you headed.
Yeah.
Versus, hey, I want to create generational change, right? I want progeny to look different than it looked, in my past or in my family. If we're getting married to do God's work, to make the world a better place, to be better examples.
Yeah.
So we started a Connect group this season, a marriage Connect group.
Nice.
And
what is a Connect group? What does that look like?
Connect group is, some people call it small church.
Small groups.
Small groups. They call it small groups.
I want to speak to the people in the back. Just never know if they don't know what Connect groups
exactly.
is. Yeah. A group of connection.
Small groups. Small groups.
Connect with the groups.
Fellow church members who meet up during the week at someone's house, a coffee shop, wherever it is, and we get together and we walk through devotionals or we walk through scripture. Scripture.
I love that.
But yeah, we got together. We just started this week, the first session, man. And we're just talking about what does it look like to be the church? What does it look like to be a married couple doing God's work? And, for me and Jannar, man, like we didn't have the examples. And the running theme in our Connect group is we didn't have the examples.
Come on.
We didn't have the examples.
Wow.
And it's like when you talk about purpose, when we started this group, it was because we didn't have what we always wanted. And now God has positioned us to be purposeful to give other individuals what they need that they didn't have.
What was that statement we said way back where the best person you can serve?
The best person you can serve is the person who you once were.
Every time.
And the same thing goes for us married couples, right? If you're a married couple and you believe you're healthy or you want to be healthy, the best thing you can do is serve another couple who are in a season that you were once in, or maybe that you're in right now.
Because there's something that they need to have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's always going to be somebody to pull up, and you're always going to be in a position for someone to pull you up, right?